We're going to dive into a little bit about DePIN and AI today and some of the projects that are really rolling out within the crypto segment. I think you guys are going to like it. It's a good interview coming up as well. Make sure and stay tuned right here. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. Let's get into it today. And I want to bring on the CEO of IONET coming into the show, and that is Ahmad Shadid. Great to have you.
Hey, thank you very much, Paul, for having me on this call. I'm very excited to share the latest insights from the market and some good news about IO.
So Ahmad, we've talked about IONET before. We've had the project kind of outlined in some of our shows in the past. But I want to kind of give some of our viewers and listeners kind of a fresh update of what's happening, where you guys are currently. Can you give us a rundown?
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, I think IO is currently standing at 25,000 GPUs with more than 180,000 GPUs waiting to be joining the network. It's just our capacity is at the maximum. We are around 19,000 users in our cloud platform. And yeah, looking forward. Currently, we are in the process of our fundraise, closing our Series A fundraise, so we could build and enhance and scale up the infrastructure to serve the massive influx of users we have. And the reason of that is because since ChatGPT launched, it opened a massive door, opened a huge door for all AI for people to build AI startup using OpenAI technology. And then from there, the industry just scaled up more and more that we now have, thousands of startups building their own ML models or trying to scale up their ML models. And the problem becomes the GPU capacity. Now, there is not, the GPUs, as you know, is this processing unit that is, from the beginning was built for gaming, but then because it's good at matrix multiplication, that is exactly what is and how neural network works. It's all about matrix multiplication, and the GPU is just perfect fit for that. So That's why we see NVIDIA leading the market here because of this. Now, what's happening now is, yes, NVIDIA is manufacturing, but the demand, like whatever we have right now in the cloud, the demand is already 3 times what is in the cloud. And every 3.5 months, we need double the compute power we have. So it's crazy. It's going beyond what we have seen. It's almost like a new industrial revolution here. And now the problem is, sure, there is this GPU supply. So whatever GPU supply you could bring into the market, it's going to be absorbed as fast as possible, as this GPU supply specifically could serve these large-scale AI startups. Now, when you look at the GPU supply problem, who's actually suffering from the GPU supply? Like if you are an individual who wants 8 GPUs or 12 GPUs or 2 GPUs, it's so easy to find. There's no problem there. If you go to RunPod, CoreWave, you could get some GPUs to get some GPUs. Now, the problem is the moment when you start to become not an individual, an indie developer who cares about 20 or 30 GPU, but rather right now you're scaling up because you're training a massive model, or you already have trained that model and now you want to serve it to users for long term, like for a very long duration. You start your startup, build this model, you put it on these machines, and then you have 100,000 users, 200,000 users. Here comes a problem. It's like, okay, now I need to scale where I'm going to get the GPUs. Here is the problem. Like, starting from this point, the problem starts. So why does it start? So if right now I can, to everyone watching this video, I have a challenge, and I'm going to give 10,000 IO coins for anyone who can manage to find in 1 hour, from this, in 1 hour, if you could grant 100 GPUs anywhere except IO Cloud, anywhere.
Interesting.
I like
that challenge. That's throwing down the gauntlet.
You could go to any provider on the planet, open any account. In 1 hour, there's no way you can access 100 GPU. It's impossible. So that's why here comes IO, is you come to the platform, tick, 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 20 seconds, you have the cluster ready, 100, 200, 300 GPUs. So that's where we are. That's what's the key differentiator between us.
So I want to jump over to a tweet real quick you guys did. GPU storage, basically saying that nearly unlimited computing power, 90% cheaper than that of cloud providers. So that's a huge shift in cloud compute, what we'll see in the way of render technologies now with things like Sora starting to launch around AI video rendering. There's a lot of opportunity here. Where would you say is strategically kind of the next steps for IONET?
Yeah, so there's the supply, and what's going on right now, because we're allowing almost everyone from the world to join in the network. we are having different types of GPUs coming in. Some GPUs hosted at home with very bad internet connectivity speed, and some GPUs are coming from mining facilities that have medium connectivity speed, and they are upgrading their infrastructure. It's easy for them to upgrade their connectivity speed. And some of them are coming from high-end data centers who have petabytes of storage, the best energy, backup, using clean energy, solar energy, and so on. And they have thousands of GPUs come in, and they are just a new data center who just purchased large shipment of GPUs, but they still haven't figured out the sales part of it. They don't have a sales team. Okay. No one knows about them, and so on. And we're bringing in this supply more. Like, we're focusing on what really the demand wants. So we're hunting more of these facilities. So far, we have in the network, we have more than 30 of these different facilities. Plus, we are now in talk with more than 500 of such facilities. In total, this could reach to plus 500, 600,000 GPU. But there's a lot of things to take in consideration here: energy costs, token rewards that will be given to these providers of compute. So slowly we are building up the supply towards the direction of what actually the demand wants. And so what's next for IO is just to bring in more large-scale AI startups to deploy on the network.
So let's talk about the onboarding process. Somebody comes on, they're ready to go. I mean, is it just as simple as going over to your website and jumping into creating your own cluster? Is that as simple as it is?
Yeah, definitely. It's a few clicks away. I mean, I don't know. If you have a balance, or I could show it from my side?
Well, no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that's the function that somebody that needs GPU capacity could literally go in, create the cluster on the fly, go in, pay with any one of these tokens, and be able to jump right
in. You could sign up and see the flow. Without clicking the button deploy, which will charge. It's very simple.
We have to do that. We're going to do that probably maybe on a secondary video. All right, so I want to talk about your token a little bit, just in the sense of when it's launching. Can you give us any insights to that?
Yes, sure. So as we all know, Filecoin, is going to be and we believe is going to be one of the most important coins that's going to be listed in the cryptocurrency market in 2024. It's something that is connecting it's the backbone of the AI. It's connecting all the Web2 money that's flowing into AI compute to the GPU power we have. So it's like it's in the middle between all this model inferences, between all this GPU bookings, all the clusters, and all the money that's flowing. And to give you an example, one of our clients, just one of them, a small startup, is paying us around $170,000 in compute, just for 120 GPUs. So that's one of, we have 19,000 users. So just imagine the flow of money that's flowing in, burning IO coin, and affecting that. So that's how we see IO is going to be in the middle of this industry. So when is going to be launched? Yeah, when is going to be launched? Answering this is a very important question. We can't yet define the date because there's so much in the pipeline that's being developed by our team. The team is scaling up. We're currently above 50 people, and we're working so hard on preparing the infrastructure, because once this is launched, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of users, hundreds of thousands of GPUs in the network. So the infrastructure should handle such massive demand. There's no downtime accepted. So there should be backup systems and so on, which takes a lot of time and testing that's happening. Now, our aim is to launch 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the Bitcoin halving. That's for us, the deadline. The team is putting the Bitcoin halving date as the metric on, the moment we cross Bitcoin halving, we are kind of in the, clock is ticking down. We have to launch ASAP.
Okay. I want to get into a couple other things. Filecoin, Arweave. Now, on your website, you guys are obviously a proponent of Filecoin, Render. You also love Solana, within the ecosystem. Talk to me about, kind of the structure of where maybe Arweave or Filecoin could be used here.
That's a good question. So when we started the project from day one, we were in contact with Filecoin. I was sitting with JV, Cherksa, Filecoin. It was in Austin, I remember, back in April. We were discussing Filecoin have all these SPs, storage providers, and now there's something called Filecoin ceiling, which means that the storage providers, all of them, they're required to have GPUs, but now there will be a lot of dormant and idle GPU supply. So from day one, we're like, okay, how could we tackle the supply? Because for you to become a Filecoin SP, you need to have at least like 10 gigabits of internet connectivity on your GPU. So they have good internet infrastructure. They're hosted in data centers, and they are very good for enterprise use case and large-scale AI startup use case. Plus, they have petabytes of storage behind them. So we were like, okay, let's start first using the compute. While they're idle and they don't have to do what they call Filecoin sealing, let's utilize that compute in the network and lease it and use it for clusters. And then slowly it started to grow with the Filecoin IPC team and other teams that we were like, okay, let's now access the petabytes of storage each one of the providers have. Like one of our providers have 130 petabytes of storage. So we're like, okay, wait a second. We have a lot of data flowing in between the users, between the nodes of the users in the cluster. So I have a cluster and it's in 10 locations. And there's a lot of 100 gigabytes of model data have to be flowing around. So then why don't we use the IPFS layer and use this hot storage of the Filecoin SPs and use it in a way where it's like S3 alternative. S3 is something used in AWS, so people throw models there and take an S3 link, and then they pull that model from the GPU once you run that GPU anywhere in the world. And S3 kind of distribute this file if you want across multiple nodes. So when you pull it from Tokyo, it will be fast, right? So and Filecoin already has that. So if that could be connected with our compute layer, then we could actually have currently people are paying $30 for 1 terabyte a month. With this, they can pay $2-3 a month for all the model storage. And it will be you save money on storage and bandwidth, and you save money too on compute power.
Yeah, you guys need to talk to X because Elon's getting ready to launch Xmail. He's in the same. He's going to be dealing with the same boat right now, just dealing with storage right there. Let me go further into this a little bit. How does Render play a role within this? I mean, you guys obviously list Render as one of your key partners. How does that play a role? Yeah,
Render have been a very great partner also from the beginning. They're also an investor in IO. And Render has been, we were the first one. So basically, IO have proposed this compute client to Render, which now they have 4 compute clients. We work very closely with them on testing all this infrastructure that we currently have from Render around, if you check our Explorer, around 3,900 GPU or something. And it's been they played a very well role in doing this test at the initial phase. And I'm trying to understand what is the potential and possibilities of using consumer GPUs, what is the right infrastructure, doing all this benchmarking. Also, we launched with Render, multi-million-dollar incentive program, which have been going very well for the community. It helped us also grow the community. So we've been working extremely closely with Render. Trevor, Jules, all the team, they're great friends. And we will, right now we have some big news coming in with Render. For a new chip support, and we're kind of playing they are playing on the consumer GPUs, we're playing on the enterprise GPUs from data centers, and we're merging this together in a unified network.
I like that. I like the kind of the 2-tiered approach. I want to jump over to a post that was on Medium by Theta. We've been watching Theta in their edge cloud development. Was a little slow coming. Now they've talked about releasing this here very shortly. And this essentially is a mission to kind of go to, enterprise, large, small, with unlimited access to GPU processing for things like AI video, which is going to be a big one. How and what are your thoughts on Theta? Is this a competitive product, or is this something that could augment to what you guys are already doing?
Well, it depends on how they build the network. So yes, from the first perspective, they look like a competitor. Just like Render looks like a competitor. And again, I think our fight is we need more GPU supply to be able to have a better position to come into the to go to the Web 2 world. And it's hey guys, instead of going with 1,000 node or 2,000 node, no, let's go all of us together with trillions of terabytes and thousands of GPUs. Trying to again, we have to unite. The industry is very rough on that side. And for sure, Theta have an amazing infrastructure too. So, I wouldn't think, and as I told you, even if they're a competitor, which is okay, it means the market is healthy. even if there's 10 of us, we are
Yes,
not enough
exactly.
to serve the AI compute. There's zero worry here, totally.
Yeah. Well, Ahmad, I think there's a partnership brewing here. I hear it.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
I love it. All right. Hey, I've got another tweet here. This came in from DePIN Circle. And DePIN sector right now predicted to skyrocket 3.5 trillion valuation by 2028. So this is according to Masari, our friend Ryan Selkos over there.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at DePIN, and for some of the users that are watching this, decentralized physical infrastructure networks, basically what IONET is doing. Decentralized networks out there, we're seeing this in everything from mapping. We'll see this in mobile, most likely. If you think about what Helium Mobile is doing, you look at the mapping product out there like Hive Mapper, et cetera. What you guys have been able to do with cloud compute, et cetera. How big do you think DePIN could really be? Is 3.5 billion underscoring where this market could go?
No, so this is an amazing thing. I think DePIN is finally the most profound way to access the Web 2 money to flow into Web 3. I think it's really the most profound way. Actually, it feels like the safest way to say this token is not a security, because it's literally just incentivized participant to become a part of this. It's like I consider the safest cryptocurrency in the sense of like it couldn't one day maybe not be a stock. It's not a legal advice, but that's like how I feel, in that it has a lot of potential there on not being labeled as a security. Now, as of how big this could go, there's something to be alerted on, and I'm very serious about this. We have a meeting with the ambassador of the country where we are, the U.S. ambassador of the country where we are. We're summoned to that meeting in 3 days. 4th of March. We also summoned to meeting with the White House Counsel. At the end of March, we're meeting the NSA. We were summoned to the NSA to discuss about the regulating of such networks, because you could have access parties that are sanctioned from access to GPUs to access this.
Right.
I didn't sign up for this from the beginning, but right now we are the largest GPU infrastructure on the planet in terms of a decentralized compute, open compute in a way. And now we're bringing attention, like, okay, guys, there's a new White House order, the executive order, there's this, there's that. We have to work together to make sure this is within the regulation perspective. So, and I think this is really serious, because the DePIN have massive impact. It's beyond even the DeFi impact. If you notice, when DeFi launched, they didn't make such noise around it. But the DePIN has massive impact because it really kind of like goes within the real world, right?
Well,
and
yeah,
that
you're
could
talking infrastructure.
potentially be a threat.
Yeah, this
Yes,
is infrastructure.
yes.
Yeah, to the T. So wow, that's breaking news right there, Ahmad. This will be interesting to see what comes of these meetings, because that in itself, from a decentralized standpoint, I think is one of the things that I know everybody in crypto, but even to a certain extent, understanding the security layer behind decentralized, things like what you guys are doing in the cloud compute layer. This is going to be very critical for possibly nation states to even secure assets even better, to where we don't have these cyber attacks that are potential right now, that we deal with these centralized systems that are easily, in some cases commandeered. Well, I want to hear more about that as things resolve on that. I know you guys are on Solana. Was there any big reason other than, the obvious ones, anything specific on the Solana network selection?
Well, it's definitely, first of all, the technology and the speed of execution of transactions. And when we talk about model inference and real-time model inference, the transaction has to settle immediately. That's first of all, and has to settle at the cheapest cost possible. Secondly, Solana is an investor in IO.net. Third is Solana have an amazing community. It's so much easier to build within the Solana community than to build anywhere else. You get noticed quickly, you get noticed quicker in a way, and like without Solana, IO.net wouldn't be here, because we were part of the hackathon. We met Multicoin Capital, and then so on and so forth. So this is a big reason of why I'm standing here, is because of Solana.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got a chance when we first found out about IONET. It was through what was going on at Breakpoint. Seeing some of your team really showcase a lot of what you guys were up to. So yeah, kudos to them and a lot of projects that have been able to launch. I think with Breakpoint, last couple of years has been very innovative. I want one last question to you. We've had Hut 8 on our show many times. Sue Ennis, friend of the channel. Hut 8's gone through some acquisitions. There is an opportunity here, because I've talked about this with Sue directly, in reference of, could Hut 8 or other miners start going to something like an IONet for cloud compute?
Yes.
Just being able to offer that as a solution.
Definitely, and I think that's mainly what IONet is aggregating all such providers who either we're doing we're doing AI crypto mining, and
Yep.
they would like to move to compute, or they already have AI compute, and what we want like to spread IO infrastructure software across all these data centers across the world, and unite it under a single and unified kind of sky computing concept. So like all these non-big cloud, let's join on an alliance and have this single network that everyone can access for compute at large scale, but not everyone, the large scale AI startups specifically, who usually lease for long term, and that's what such cloud providers want.
Well, and I think the key there with someone like a Hut 8, they're clearly after power infrastructure in most of these mining operations. That's what you need. So to be able to power the GPUs, eventually to come onto a network like what you guys are doing, definitely an interesting potential here for some of these miners in the future, for sure, especially with some like Hut 8, which just went through an acquisition. So. Hey, Ahmad, it was great having you on the show. And I think we should get you back as things start to resolve. You guys get the token out, more infrastructure built. But I want to hear more about what the NSA is going to say to you. Is what I'm interested in.
Well, it's a friendly meeting. It's more like a workshop in Washington, D.C.
It's friendly
to like understanding. But here's the thing: it's like it's better you are around the table, not on the table, right?
That's right. That's better at the table, not on the table.
yeah, at the table, not on the table. Exactly.
Like well, Ahmad, it was good having you. Thank you so much for stopping in today. We appreciate it.
Likewise, man. Thank you very much.
All right. So as you guys can see, listen, DePIN is going to be an absolute, I think, unbelievable category to watch. Whether you're looking at crypto or you're looking at just the idea of technology going forward. This is a big one. IONet is one of these companies that we're watching very closely. So make sure and stay tuned right here. We'll do more coverage about this and more. If you're not in our Diamond Circle, make sure and get in on that. We're actually dropping a deep dive research report on DePIN and how it affects the crypto community. So check that out by joining down below. Catch me out there on X, @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on Tech.